Welcome to BAIZE's Sanitizing Your Table After Use. This video is particularly for full-time members who come in after hours and want to leave a nice clean table for their fellow members. It also could be used for basic members and or full members during daily hours if we're swamped and you want to help out. Much appreciated. But basically, this will be how to do it for full members. You're going to need the table spray, the Q spray, 2 brushes, one with BAIZE on the handle. You're going to need paper towel rolls, and you're going to need your the box that the balls came in. On the brush with the BAIZE on it, we're going to use that to block as well as brush, and it has one end where there's an extra amount of BAIZE, and then there's one end that's nicely trimmed. Again, we're pretending that we just grabbed these out of the table. So we're going to brush the bristles and the handle. We're going to spray the brush on the bristles and the handles. And we're going to space out the brushes so that they overlap. We don't want them end to end because we don't want lines or gaps in the brushing. It's not sanitary and it doesn't look nice. So have a nice overlap. What I like to do, since they are overlapped, is give myself a brushed surface at the bulk so that I can place them how I need them to be for the rest of the bed, and then brush in the direction of the nap, trying to keep as straight as possible to align the nap. Remember, keep contact with the bed. You don't want to be kicking up dust. Any debris should be kicked into the pockets. You can see that the balls are in the pocket rails. They're in there for a reason. We're just going to leave them there for now. We'll spray them down and sanitize them after all this is done. So it's okay if you get a little bit of dust on them or any debris. The debris will probably fall off anyway. So you've just finished brushing the bed. Now you're going to have to do the rails. You're going to have to do the top of the rails with the blocking brush, and you're going to do underneath the rails with the wooden brush with no BAIZE on it. You're going to want to go in the direction of the nap, and this is an example for table 3. Table 3 has 2 rails where they manufactured the BAIZE backwards, so the nap is going the wrong way on this table that we're doing. So it's going to be like going clockwise on this table. So this is what I'm talking about right here. Typically this side of the rail is going to be going down towards the black spot, but like I said, they switched the direction of the nap, that manufacturer, and we will fix that when we refelt the table, and it should not affect your play unless you're Ronnie O'Sullivan. It probably won't even do it then. Alright, we all finished. Once we brushed the bed and once we brushed the rails, we're finished with the wooden naked brush. Spray it, put it back. It's nice and sanitized for the next person. Now get back to the brush with the BAIZE on it. Spray the BAIZE because you've used your hands to sanitize, and even if you're wearing gloves, spray it again. Your hands should be sanitized, and if you're wearing gloves does not mean that your gloves are sanitized. You're still going to have to sanitize your gloves. So if you're asking why there are no gloves being used, gloves create sweat, and they're not they're not sanitized just by the mere fact of being gloves. So they introduce a lot of human fluid, which is kind of a gross thing to say, but we're dealing with a lot of things that live in human fluid. So I don't I don't like to use gloves in this instance. Just I know that my hands are washed, I know that they're sanitized, and I know that I'm spraying to protect anybody else that uses this equipment. So you're going to want to get that loose part of the BAIZE on the brush to be blocking underneath the rails and removing any sort of debris that gets stuck up there, chalk marks, anything that could distract you as you're playing, without damaging that real thin cloth underneath the rubber. And it will damage it if you don't do it softly, so that's why we have that extra piece of fabric. Sometimes you'll see finger marks when someone is, finger marks on the BAIZE, that is, when someone is playing and after their shot, some people tend to drag their fingers along the BAIZE and it'll leave marks as if you're going in the wrong direction on a suede shoes or something. So this step will help get rid of those. Spray it and put it back. So bring out the Powerful Table Sanitizer by Legends. You want to spray the bed, a nice even thin coverage of the bed, and we're just going to let that sit and dry. And then spray the rails, not just the BAIZE, but the rails themselves, the ball rails, the handrails, even underneath the lip of the handrail, because you just got to imagine how you play on the table and wherever your hands are touching, you want to get that spray in there. I'm also spraying the rest. I'm also spraying the redwoods on the other side. I'm spraying the rest at the bulk end. I'm definitely spraying the balls on the pocket rails. We're going to have disposable paper towels. And again, you want to make sure you're spreading this evenly, cleaning it up, getting rid of all the finger marks, getting underneath the lip of the rail, because that's where we touch the rails as well, and it's kind of easy to forget because it's hard to see. You're almost done. This is actually not too, it doesn't take too long. If you know, the more you do it, the more efficient you get. And the more you do it the same way, the more efficient you get. Like, you don't want to start reinventing things every time. You don't want to skip a step. You don't want to tell yourself, well, I didn't use the spider this time, so I'm not going to sanitize it. Wrong. Sanitize everything. Get that system down so that you're efficient with it. So after everything's been sprayed, the balls are fairly safe to touch. Now remember, you've sanitized your hands, so the last thing you want to do is touch dirty balls. So you just grab them and put them in the box, put them on the lid of the box, and then when you polish them, which I'll show in a different video, and you probably won't have to polish them, but when you do, we go from the box lid to the eggshell, from dirty to clean. So if the dirty balls are in the lid, that's good. Once we clean them and sanitize them, they go back in the eggshell. So I've pulled out the rest. I've pulled out the spider, and I've pulled out the extension, and I've expanded the extension, and I've sprayed the extension and then collapsed it. I've sprayed down the spider, wiped it, and put it back. Same thing with the rest. You're going to spray it with the Q sanitizer, wipe it down, and put it back. You can definitely spray it and leave it, and that's fine. What I'm avoiding here is just the appearance of any sort of spots making it look unclean. So we go ahead and wipe it. These are the redwoods. These are kind of difficult to sanitize because they're so huge. But like I said, easy to do if you do it the same way every time, and you'll get better at it. Just use gravity. Gravity can help you. These things are huge. All right, so the last couple of things are the triangle, easy to forget, or the rack, easy to forget. You can just spray it down, get all in the corners, get everywhere where you think fingers will touch as they're moving the rack along the table, and go ahead and just put it back in. That drawer is not air sealed, so it'll dry nicely in there. And when you spray the rests in any sort of bridge, you want to spray one side on the way down and then turn it and spray the other side on the way up. And then when you last step for the table is covering the table, and it really doesn't matter what direction the cover ends up. It'd be nice if they were all the same way, but it really doesn't matter. First thing you got to do is unroll it, and then hook one end of the cover, walk to the other end, and just slowly lift it up without dragging it across the BAIZE. And then you're set. Table's ready. Rests are sanitized. Rails are sanitized. Check the list. Make sure you got everything. And then spray the scoreboard. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for doing your part to reduce the spread. Play safe.